It is about time we talk about for the Nintendo Switch 2. We've got an update for you guys because we need to discuss this. There was a recent discussion over on Twitter with someone that's been known to have some inside information here and there, Mr. Reese Kiwi Talks Riley. He discussed his 4 favorite IPs and how they are all coming out within the next year or so. And one of those that got a lot of attention from people was Super Smash Bros. Now, over on Twitter, Mr. Kiwi Talks had this to say: "These are my 4 favorite game franchises of all time, and it's great that I know all 4 IPs have stuff coming either soon or in a year or two. GTA 6 in November, another Metroid game on the near horizon, Smash Bros in the next year or two, and another Zelda game and the movie in 2027. Now, once he said that, people took that and started running. Dexterdo ran a post on their page saying a new Super Smash Bros. Game is reportedly releasing as early as 2027 per Kiwi Talks. Masahiro Sakurai is rumored to be working on the game since finishing Kirby Air Riders. Also, Mr. Rogers Base over on Twitter, he chimed in about this. Shout outs to Rogers Base, one of the GOATs when it comes to content creation. He says, "What do I always say, people? What do I always say? Smash will always be within the first 2 calendar years of a Nintendo home console. I fully expect a teaser near the end of this year or early next year." But we've got more to talk about this. We have to slow our roll just a bit because there's a lot more to add to it. But before we continue on, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2. All you have to do to enter is hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, and drop a comment below. We are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 once we hit 150,000 subscribers, and it will be random. So the more that you actually comment and interact, the better chance that you have to win. Hit that like button, click that notification bell, and let's go ahead and jump right back into it. Kiwi Talks added on saying, "People are misquoting me again. Nowhere in the tweet did I say any of these games are new. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but I was vague for good reason to protect devs. It could be new, it could be a spin-off, it could be a remaster, it could be something on NSO. Don't jump the gun and get ahead of ourselves." So here's what I have to say with this. I'm going to talk about some of these franchises outside of GTA. I'm not going to talk about that. We know that's coming when it comes to the release date and all that. We should get the marketing coming up. But I'm going to talk about some of these other franchises first, and then we'll get into the big thing here with Super Smash Bros. Because I have a lot to add with that, because I've been around for pretty much every Smash Bros. From start all the way now to this point. I've been covering Smash Bros. Since the Wii days or so. So I know a thing or two when it comes to Nintendo's timing and what they want with Super Smash Bros. But yes, Nintendo's working on a new Zelda game that they're probably going to reveal within the next couple of years. Nintendo doesn't go too far into a generation without talking about The Legend of Zelda. They always talk about it within the first year or two of the system's life. Now, will it come out in the first year or two? Probably not. But will there be a new Zelda game when it comes to something that we haven't seen on that system, or some type of remaster, remake, something big for Zelda within the first couple of years? Yes, that always happens. Pretty much every single system in the modern age of Nintendo for the past 20 years since the Wii has had that. So I fully expect a new Zelda game, and I think that's one of the huge reasons why we didn't get Zelda Tears of the Kingdom DLC. I think Fubiashi and his team went right to work at concepting new ideas for the next big Legend of Zelda game for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I think they've been working on that. Of course, Metroid, there is rumors of a 2D Metroid game that's going to be coming out, so I fully expect 2D Metroid. There could be a Metroid Samus Returns HD. There could be all sorts of things. Metroid Dread is still the best-selling Metroid game of all time. 3 million plus units sold at this point. So I fully expect Mercury Steam to be working on something, because Metroid Dread was in 2021. We're going on 5 years since the release of that game, and they made a ton of money off that game. So I fully expect Nintendo and Mercury Steam to be cooking up something when it comes to Metroid, even if it's a remaster or remake of a previous game. Metroid Prime 2 and 3, we could see about those too. All right, let's get into the big kahuna here, and that is Super Smash Bros. Nintendo, like Rogers Base always says here, Nintendo wants to have Super Smash Bros. Out within the first couple of years. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has sold over 36 million plus. I think it's 37 million, something around that range. It's definitely 36 million plus. That game is a blockbuster, and that's without any official price drops or anything, and that does not include all of the DLC that they have in there. They have a bunch of smaller DLC. They have the different challenger packs, the seasons. They have a ton of money, billions of dollars in Super Smash Brothers, because they just make so much from that franchise. Nintendo always wants to have Smash Brothers out in a timely fashion. They don't really go more than at least 2 years. That's pretty much the max. We've seen things play out differently for franchises before, like Mario Kart. It's the same thing with Super Smash Brothers. They want to have something within the first couple of years. They don't really wait too long. If you look at the Wii with Smash Brothers Brawl, then you look at the Wii U that came out in late 2014, actually mid-ish 2014 for the 3DS version, then late 2014 for the Wii U version. The Wii U came out in 2012, so that's within 2 years, but they still announced it before then. Then you look at the Nintendo Switch. They announced that way sooner than anybody expected, because Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was announced in March of 2018, then launched later that year, and the Nintendo Switch 1 came out in 2017. People were not expecting it that early. So I think Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch 2 will probably be announced sooner than people are expecting. A lot of people aren't expecting an announcement of the next Super Smash Bros. Game, even if it's just like a super deluxe version of Ultimate. People aren't expecting that anytime soon, because Masahiro Sakurai just finished up Kirby Air Riders. But Masahiro Sakurai is the man with a plan. He planned so far in ahead for a lot of things. I'm almost positive, based off of what he said on his own series, how he doesn't envision anybody else doing Smash Brothers right now. I think that this next Smash Brothers game is going to be the passing of the torch to who is going to take up the mantle, and they're going to market it that way. I would not be surprised if whenever they announce the next Super Smash Brothers game, Masahiro Sakurai has somebody else there to present the next characters or the game or something with him. I think that's going to be the passing of the torch to the next person, but I do feel that he's been working on that next Super Smash Brothers game, and they're going to announce it within the next year or so. I went on record in various videos of mine stating that they're probably going to announce Super Smash Brothers for Switch 2, I would say next year, and then maybe it launches the year after. So that would be within about 2 years, because 2028, you're getting to the 3-year anniversary. So a little bit outside of that, but I do think that it is possible, like Rogers Base says here, that we do get an announcement of Super Smash Brothers later this year, and maybe it's 2027. Or what I do think they can do is that they can do early 2027 announcement, and then it comes out that year, which would be past the 2-year gap, but they want to announce it within the 2 years. Now, when it launches, that's another thing, but the announcement, absolutely. Smash Brothers is just such a key and vital part of Nintendo and what they do. I just don't see them going too much longer without having that big Smash Brothers announcement, because it is a massive system seller. But I think that the big question here is not if there is a Smash Brothers game coming. Obviously, that's going to come, but what type of Smash Brothers game is it going to be? Is it going to be a deluxe edition? Some people think that they're going to take Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and they're going to give it the Nintendo Switch 2 treatment, where they up the resolution, they maybe double the frame rate, 120 FPS. The game already ran at 60 on the Switch 1, but maybe they do that. Maybe they take it and they add new modes and features and roll back netcode. That would be awesome. To be honest, like, I would take that, because Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is incredible. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and the big problems with the game, outside of the single player campaign not being really good, but outside of that, there's a lot of cool modes and features in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that's locked to offline, that you can't play online, and the online play does not use rollback netcode. It uses the delay-based netcode. They just couldn't get it going in time back in 2015, 16, 17 when they were developing this game. They just couldn't get it at that point. But now, at this point, definitely advance the rollback netcode and technology. They could absolutely retrofit the game and get it running on rollback netcode and bring over all of those characters, and maybe even add in like another 5 to 10 characters plus new stages and new different things, and they can kind of adapt some of the new moves. They can do that. That could work. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but they could do that, and people would probably buy it again, especially if they add a rollback netcode, because that's one of the biggest problems. Squad strike, stage morphing, there's so many cool modes that a lot of people have never even seen because you can't even use it online. Also, probably changing up that global smash power, getting rid of that, and getting a real rankings mode in Super Smash Bros. Would also be awesome. So they can take that and turn it into something spectacular. But here's what I think they're going to do. I'm more inclined to think that Nintendo's going to take Super Smash Bros. And reboot the franchise. There's a lot of third-party characters, a lot of just random characters in Super Smash Bros. And they're great, they're awesome, but I think if they cut the roster down to about maybe 40 to 50 people, so we're looking at a Super Smash Bros. For Wii U type roster, and if they rebooted the moveset and added in a spectacular single player mode with rollback netcode and a bunch of those cool modes from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where they don't have to focus on having nearly 100 characters, I think that can work. And then maybe a season or two of DLC, I think that would be fantastic, because Mario's moveset is so old. There's moves that he has from like Melee. There's moves from Super Mario Sunshine. We need moves with Cappy. We need moves from Wonder. We need moves from newer Mario games. Samus is so old in her moveset, it's from like Metroid Prime. We need Metroid Dread moves and all that. There definitely needs to be an updating with this, because there's too many characters that just have old movesets. Yes, they've updated things and they've made things and they've adjusted different stuff and they've made it better and they've added a few tweaks here and there. It's absolutely not the exact same playing Mario in Melee compared to playing him in Ultimate, but it absolutely needs an update to add in some of the newer Mario games. Link needs a new moveset as well. There's so many characters that absolutely need to be updated. So if they reboot it, give new movesets to a lot of the core characters, and then add in the important third-party characters like Mega Man, Sonic, I think Pac-Man, the ones that are truly like goated, I think that would be fine. And then you could maybe even add in some of the missing characters through Season Pass or DLC or something like that. But if we get that, people would be really happy with it. And I think that would actually be better to me than just taking that same Ultimate game and rebooting that as a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. That would be awesome, don't get me wrong, but I would really love to see a brand new, completely ground up Super Smash Bros. Game, rebooted movesets, rebooted roster, all sorts of cool modes and rollback netcode packed into the online, a real rankings mode for competitive play, and a casual mode with global smash power or something like that. You can kind of give the best of both worlds and a great single player campaign. That would be something that would get a lot of people excited about Super Smash Bros. In my opinion, and I think it would sell incredible. It would sell a ton of Switch 2 systems. And speaking of that, a Super Smash Bros. Nintendo Switch 2 bundle, that would be really good too. Now, they had one with the Nintendo Switch 1, but it was kind of just like muted. It was a bit grayish and it wasn't colorful. I think they should do something a bit more colorful, a bit more bold, have a Pro controller. They can re-release GameCube controllers in the Smash Brothers style like they did with Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I think it could just be a whole event and everyone would be so excited for something like that. So there's a lot to look forward to. But yes, I do think that we need to slow our roll just a little bit. That doesn't confirm that the game is coming out in 2027, like some people are trying to say. But I do think that we'll have some type of announcement before the end of 2027 for sure. Can't say that the game's going to come out in 2027, but I think there will be an announcement for the next big Super Smash Bros. Game in 2027. And of course, there's going to be a lot of happy people when that does get announced, because Smash Bros. Is a mainstay in the gaming industry. Best-selling singular fighting game of all time, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I'm expecting big things for this next Smash Bros. Game, and this will probably once again be Sakurai's last Smash Bros. Game that he fully takes on, in my opinion, based on his age and kind of just based on some of the things that he said. But I feel that, once again, this can be like the passing of the torch, and they can really do some cool things. the processing power of the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to give them a lot of room and a lot of, I would say, interesting ways to play around with environments and backgrounds and stage hazards and items. They can do a lot more with that processing power, and I think they can create something that's going to be really cool. So what do you guys think about everything that we talked about here when it comes to Super Smash Bros. And what Nintendo's going to be doing here with some of these key franchises? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.